Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy New Year. Happy New Year 2021. I'm Monica Dina Hupperts of Whole Heart Energy Healing, and I am here on this very first 2021 edition of From Challenge to Champion, where I'll be doing free group healings and teachings on various topics for the next few months anyways. I'll be here live every Monday afternoon at noon Mountain Time. That happens to be 11 Pacific and 2 Eastern Time. Topics will include health, wealth, focus of attention, relationships of all sorts, the subconscious mind and your beliefs, and a whole lot more. Each week you can get a personal healing for $5 Canadian funds. So I think that's less 25% if you are paying US funds. Simply sign up at the link below, which I'll post soon, and I'll let you know your date via email. You do not have to be present to receive the healing. I'll have time for about, I don't know, 7 personal healings, I think. If it gets heavy with sign-ups, I'll look at making my Monday sessions longer. I have a new Facebook group to join. Clearing and healing information will be housed there. It's a place to ask questions, get clarification, and even get to know others on their healing journey. Yay, Mel, thank you. She can hear me. All members are encouraged to support each other with their knowledge. Yeah, I may have 25 years of modalities experience, um, but there are things that I don't know, and I welcome you sharing what you know and the opportunity for me to learn more. I think I've got that posted earlier, and if not, I will also post that link here. You know, it doesn't matter how long you've been holding on to these negative thought patterns of any sort, you can begin to make a change today. The past does not need to continue to haunt and control you. The smallest beginning can and will make a difference, if that's your choosing. Your subconscious mind is a great tool that you can use to your advantage to help you release that past and impress upon it the future that you desire. Like I said today's topic will be on how we create and accumulate blocks, programs, and limiting beliefs. And I think it's kind of a good thing that we learn a little bit about that because, you know, you hear about it, you've got limiting beliefs, you've got programs, you've got blocks, all sorts of things. What? Where are these coming from? Well, sit back, relax. Today is more of a teaching one. I didn't have any people sign up this week for our for a healing session, which is fine. So it'll be more of an info session today, and we're gonna start with that right now. I wonder if you're aware of how it kind of all begins. My understanding is that literally when we take a breath in, our first breath out of our mom's womb, things are already happening to us. That sharp inhale traps in emotions. You know, when you've got um, something going on and you're really excited and you just kind of hold your breath, at that moment, all the feelings that you have are kind of registered in your DNA about what's going on. It could be an excited emotion, could be a happy emotion, could be a frightening emotion, or a very troubling emotion. Either way, that sharp inhale and because there's a pause in our breath. There is that um, holding of the breath that registers it in our subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind is the thing that kind of runs our whole show. On autopilot, we've got our breath, our blood is pumping, our heart is pumping, our lungs are going in and out, the food that was digested in our stomach is getting utilized. Everything is done on an automatic system, and so does this. That sharp inhale and holding of the breath is when all of that gets registered, and we hold on to that. Our body holds on to our emotions. And you've heard about trapped emotions. Some of them are wonderful when you feel that that first puppy love, whether it's a person or a puppy or a kitten or anything that you hold near and dear to your heart. That feeling is there, and it gives you those wonderful endorphins, letting you have that wonderful feeling of, I don't know if it's ecstasy or what have you. And I've got a crazy cat going around here. Budsy Wudsy, what are you doing? Anyways, so let's say, however, though, that you witnessed something. You saw a car accident. I had seen a car accident once, and the funny, not funny, thing about it was just the weekend before I'd seen the accident, I was taking through school the where you do not the Heimlich maneuver, but you push on the chest and you do all of that. And so I learned all of that, how to bandage, what to do when a person's in shock, all of those things. It was quite extensive. A few days later, I'm walking home. I was in my mid 20s, I think, when this happened, late 20s, something like that. And as I was walking towards my bus stop, the cars were stopping, and I saw a little girl with her backpack. She was crossing the street. And I noticed that there was several lanes of cars that had stopped. One lane was still clear, and unfortunately, the driver who was in that lane didn't think to stop. And he hit the little girl, and I remember her flying one way and her backpack flying another way. I inhaled and held my breath and dropped to my knees. I was of no use at all to that little girl. Thankfully, there were others with presence of mind that could help her. I just remember becoming weakened in the knees. And it took a long time for me to realize that I had held on to that witnessing of a tragic event. Um, it can happen in a blink of an eye. And I found out years later, why in my 30s and 40s, I was still kind of, I don't know if you want to call it gun shy, but whatever it is, feeling this frightened feeling whenever I was crossing the street, whether um, whether I was at a crosswalk or not doesn't matter. This little girl was at a crosswalk, but still, and I couldn't figure it out. Well, lo and behold, going back into some memories that I had, I realized that I had witnessed this and finally was able to release those trapped emotions. And now, as I go walking down the street, yeah, of course, I'm still cautious because it's the right thing to do for me. But it's not a fear that oh my goodness, I really better watch, look both ways 7 times before I cross in case a car is coming. I didn't realize how much it had um, affected me and how it really did a number on my emotions and my thought patterns that went along with that. Speaking of thought patterns, have you ever um, thought of something, something, something that irritated you? Somebody cut you off in traffic, gave you the finger, shouted at you, or whatever it was. It doesn't even have to be at you, it could be at somebody else. But you saw this or had it occur to you, um, and you repeated those thoughts over and over and over in your mind. Did you know that when you do that, those feelings, those negative feelings, get trapped inside your body? But then every time you have that thought, those emotions get released, re released into your body, and they accumulate. And they accumulate more over time. The more you think of something, the more that it affects your health in a negative way, to the point where you get enough of these negative thoughts built up into your system. If you have not released them, if you have not found a healthy way of shedding those thoughts, those emotions, they can do physical damage to you. I'm sure you've seen people or know of people or have heard of people at the very least where they've experienced trauma and they're not the same person afterwards. It gets repeated in their mind over and over and over again, and they shy away from everybody, or they get angry and lash out at everybody. PTSD is one of those things where trapped emotions really have done a number on the person's thoughts, ideas, their attitudes, their belief patterns, everything in those few seconds, those moments when the negative experiences were happening, definitely had done a number on the person that was involved in all of this, and it just takes them out. Like the rug is pulled out, they're on the floor, they cannot move sometimes. And it takes a lot of therapy, emotional support, love, or like in my case, I was doing clearings for people just to help them get over that. CPR, thank you, Mel. Oh, I couldn't remember that word. Isn't that funny? But yes, um, with all that happening, it can really do a number on a person. Um, I know through family, um, my mother-in-law, a very nervous lady, lovely lady, but a very nervous lady, had very hard time conceiving. And it was only when she relaxed that she could finally get pregnant and have her son. Um, it's amazing the physical effects that our inhale and holding on to that breath for those split seconds or few seconds, whichever it is, and the rush of those negative emotions just flooding into your body, how that affects you physically, mentally, emotionally, even spiritually. Those cyclical thoughts have you thinking usually negative things, usually, not always, but usually, and it it traps you. You are imprisoned by them. So you need to let them go, be released, to shed them, let go of them. Repeating patterns is another way. Now, cyclical thoughts, yes, that's a thought process, but the repeating patterns includes also not only your thought processes, but your physical actions. So, this is where some of your beliefs have gone on, I don't know, like a hyper mode, where OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, comes about, and you need to make sure the door is locked, and you do it 17 times or whatever is your ritual. My husband used to check that every time, and he had to check the clock before uh, finally retiring and allowing his body and his mind to rest. My students, I had kids who had to make sure they took off the left shoe before the right shoe, and if they didn't do it, they would be all upset because the pattern was that if they didn't do the left shoe, then the right shoe. In their mind, something bad happened, and they would enact that negative feeling and be quite inconsolable for a period of time until they could get their shoes back on, take them off again with the left one, then the right one. It's amazing how these patterns affect us negatively. Often negatively. They can also affect us positively, of course. That's the trick, though, is to try to turn those negatives into positives, or at least balance them out or make them neutral. My thinking is to make them neutral so that you're not affected um, negatively for the lows, and believe it or not, positively for the highs, because from the highs, as you come down, that's not a fun feeling either. So if you can kind of be neutral and enjoy the highs, experience in the lows, but then get back to a feeling of neutrality, your body is going to feel so much more free and easy, and your thought patterns can be straight and clear and sharp. Where else do we get our beliefs? Well, we get our beliefs that just from experiencing life. We might have seen even as a child, even as a baby, that mom gets mad when something gets spilled or something is dirty. And in order to not make her mad, you stay clean. Some people, for example, are fastidiously clean so that they can, maintain that feeling of safety. They're safe in being clean because early in their life, they got the belief that uh, if mom got upset because things were dirty, then they kind of over years transposed that into, well, if I'm dirty, I could be upset and I should be upset, and this is the way life is to be upset. It just kind of gets deeper and deeper and deeper, creating more and more layers within. So your beliefs come from, your own life experiences from a very, very young age. Um, I know of belief systems that I had, and I could remember a few incidences when I was ages 2 and 3. And believe it or not, I was releasing just last year some of this stuff, which I thought I had cleared, but there was obviously some layers I hadn't got to. And when I looked at them, I realized, oh my goodness, knowing what I know now to affect and relieve and release and shed those beliefs from way, way back then. Okay, not way, way back then, but you get the idea. We get these uh, blocks and programs and limiting beliefs from our parents, from our household, wherever we grew up in. If we were, brought up by a grandmother, an aunt, in the monastery, in a, what is it called, kibbutz, I think it is, where it's a communal upbringing. We get our understandings from the adults and those that are older from us. I remember being in elementary school and walking by the junior high school. This is in the, so it'd be 70s, early 70s, late 60s, early 70s. Okay, so now you can figure out my age. And as a kid, my sister and I were walking off to school. Our little legs are carrying us there. And as we walked by the junior high to get to our elementary school, we would hold our breaths and go, hippies, and run, 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 run really fast. Where we got that idea, I have no idea. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But those little junior high kids, what are they? 12, 13, 14, 15, maybe up to 16. It depended on, how advanced they were in that junior high to be in those grades. But seriously, we thought they were so old and so full of wisdom and whatever else we thought. I don't know what we thought back then, but the idea is that elders to us, whatever your age is, elders to us, um, made a huge impact on us. Um, and then later on, our teachers. So whether our teachers, and in my case, some of my teachers were my students. They taught me a lot of things. Um, they taught me how to tie a shoe. They taught me how to do their backflips. They taught me how they did all sorts of things. They taught me what love looked like. They drew a picture of their dog. That was what love looked like to them. I learned a lot from my kids. I learned a lot from adults as well. So as you age, you can learn from all sorts of different people. So it doesn't just have to be your parents. It could definitely be people that you come across in your society, your churches, your synagogues, your I'm sorry, I don't know all the names of the various faiths, the buildings that they attend and worship faith in. But whatever it is, you learn from those places. You learn from your teachers, your doctors, the people that you watch on television. They're teaching you all sorts of things. If you brush your teeth with Pepsodent, you'll have the whitest, brightest smile. Like, we get taught all of these things. It's amazing. Did you know that your birth order could also play a role in it? Often those that are firstborn, like myself, there's a greater mantle of expectations placed upon our tender young shoulders. First boy, first girl in the family. Our parents, they're first time parents. And they have visions of grandeur for us, for our lives. And they put those expectations upon us, whether it was their own expectations for themselves that they haven't met yet, and they would love to see us as children experience that and thrive and go forth with that. Or that, life is hard and difficult and you'll always be a failure, and because I was a failure, so you'll be a failure. And you perpetuate those belief systems, those those teachings, those programs. They get in there. Not only birth order and your age make a difference, but when you were born, as in born in the 1960s versus the year 1990 or 2000 or whatever that is for you. Society has changed, it has advanced, it has regressed, it has done all sorts of things. Various events have taken place worldwide that have shaped us. For example, in the States, the shooting down of the Twin Towers, um, all sorts of things. You know, if you want to go back 2,000 years, the coming of Christ, how that shaped us. Uh, the first flight and the ability to cross the ocean in a plane that I don't know that too many people would fly nowadays, fly in nowadays, but still, there's a lot of things that are uh, out there during our years of birth, and we are affected by what goes on. How about our experiences? Our experiences play a huge role as well. Um, when you have so much going on in your life, some people have had, well, let's call it an easier life. Some people would say a charmed life. Um, I don't know that the people that are looking from the outside on those lives would say that, or the inside from those lives would say that. But from other perspectives, some people have had charmed lives. Things have been handed to them. Others had to scratch, you know, tooth and nail to get to where they are. Some succeed, some never do. Whatever your experience is, it's going to affect you, your thought patterns, your belief systems. It's going to program you to be in such a way that it's going to affect how you live your life. How about later on in your life when you accept the teachings of various people? You have, in my case, I was following many types of gurus, people that I thought were spiritually in the know. I wanted to know what they knew so that I could have a deeper understanding. Those teachings led me to my thought patterns and what I believe. How about misinformation? Misinformation, where you're either told um, things on purpose or by error, information that you take on as truth. You take it on into your body as a belief. You're told from, you know, the age of, I don't know, one, that the sky is green, and you go around and you see that blue sky, and you know that that is the color green because that's what you were brought up to believe. And until you're taught different and it's shown to you different, and you realize and decide to choose to accept the different, or at least the possibility that maybe what you've learned is different or wrong, or that there's a new approach, or that there is a different way of thinking on it, that you will change it. Misinformation certainly plays a huge, huge part in our societies. Think about it when you're watching a television. If you have that ultra bright smile, do you have the handsome boyfriend? Do you have the beautiful woman? Is life all perfect because this is what you were told would happen, and you use these products? And no, no, it doesn't go that way, does it? The misinformation that you're given, that you're led to believe is correct and true and as truth, you realize it's not anything to do with that. It's more an internal acceptance of yourself, and then with acceptance of yourself, an acceptance from society. It's not that you have the perfect smile or the whitest teeth in town that makes you the best person around, or have the happiest life around because you're doing this. It just doesn't work that way. But we are led to believe that because people want to sell their products, and I get that. My product is the best over your product. Your product is the best over his product. Whatever it is, um, we can learn a lot of not truths. We can take in a lot of misinformation. And so that's the way it goes for that. Okay, well, that's all on the outside. What about on our inside? I'm talking about, um, for example, our right within our own DNA, our inheritance from our family. Um, we have often heard of, well, my father has patterning, male patterning baldness, and so the son seems to have it, where it's been proven time and time again that it's not the mom that it's not the father that passes this on, but it's through the mother. And I don't know if it's because the boys see the men, see their father, and expect to be looking like him later on, or hope to be not looking like him later on, whichever it is. Either way, if you've got a fight for or against, it's the fight that can cause the problem, because what you're putting your attention to goes all the energy to that, hey? So whether it's got a positive effect, or you're hoping for it to have a positive effect or a negative effect. Sometimes, whichever way you're looking at it, the worst thing, or whatever, not the worst thing, but something happens because of that. It's amazing how our thoughts can hold on that. Um, it's been proven that people who inherit diseases through the DNA, that can be changed. Um, the different switches in our bodies that get turned on and off by the chemicals that get released by um, oh, there's something else there. Bruce Lipton was the guy that I know was talking about switches on and off, and the telomeres in our body, and if they're long or short and all that. We can definitely change a lot of that through energy work, to get that balance and avoid some of those illnesses. You do have to believe. It's not just, oh, well, so and so said that this can happen because, and so okay, I believe that. No, no, no. You really have to, bring that into your whole system, and truly, truly believe it as a truth so that it can start changing. There's been so many studies done of and they're teacher stories, because I was a public school teacher for the longest time. There is a list of kids who was given the the labels of being extremely smart, and it was a new school, it was new teachers, new everything. Nobody knew the histories of these kids, or at least the teachers didn't know about the history of these kids. And they were, the teachers were told that these children are extremely bright, a little bit mischievous, a little bit defiant, but not to worry, that they will be achieving the highest grades you have ever seen. And to be honest, the children were having the most difficult time in school, but because of the teacher's beliefs in these students, she transferred that belief into them, and they started believing in their own abilities. They started turning their own thoughts around, that, I don't know, math is hard, to I can do math, this is easy. That learning is dumb to learning is fun. And all of these things. And well, wouldn't you know it, these children achieved because the teacher believed. They did so well. And then they did a converse study of where the teachers were told these children just don't have it where it counts, and not to expect very much from them. And these smart, bright lights were just failing left and right because the teacher didn't hold them to high expectations or expectations of any kind, really. If anything, low expectations, and would not believe that they were capable. Just pass them and let the next teacher handle it. Kind of a mentality, unfortunately. And thankfully, it was a study that was rectified later on. But the thing is that with the teacher's belief and then the children being surrounded in this environment where they were told they're not good enough, they're not able, they're not, well, their self esteem kept going down, down, down. Their ability to rise to a challenge just kept getting cut off, cut off. And their ability to achieve to their to their greatest potential was just dwindling away. And son of a gun, of course those children um, didn't do very well that school year. So it's in our DNA that things can be changed with our belief systems, our patterns, and that was just, I want to say a simple um, experiment, but still, uh, the DNA does get affected, does get infected, and does get affected, so that we know that we can change that. We can definitely change that. Um, and then there's things like if you believe in past lives. Um, there is a growing number of people who have the belief system of past lives. It's been around for, I don't know if it's a millennia or whatever it is. Um, but for example, the story of the Dalai Lama. I witnessed a TV show about a young boy in some remote place, and he was thought to be the next Dalai Lama. Well, with the Dalai Lama, it means you believe in past lives. It means that you believe that you come about again in a different body later on Earth's timeline. And this little boy, when I was watching the documentary that they were doing on him, was told to choose his items from when he was the past Dalai Lama from this variety of materials placed before him. And the boy took a look at this stuff that was in front of him, and that was my scepter, those are my false teeth, this was the something, this was something else, this was from my room, and so on and so on. And they distracted the boy, and they flipped out a few things, and then they pointed to the items in the places where the boy had pointed to them. And he said, okay, so now you're saying that this was your scepter, this was your false teeth, this was the thing in your room, blah blah. No, 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 says the boy. And he found wherever they had kind of pushed it aside or something. This is this is that, this is something else. These were all mine. And okay, then they take this boy to the place where, and I'm sorry, my mind is just not right there, but the place where the Dalai Lama would have been brought up and taught the ways of being the Dalai Lama from a young child up into being a man. And and the boy was taking them around to various places. This is where I used to play. This is my bedroom. This is. I mean, the boy knew. How can you? I couldn't deny that this was a possibility. Growing up Roman Catholic, that wasn't part of my belief system. It was my belief system was the to be resurrected at the end with the second coming of Christ. And although I still, have those tender beliefs, I also am not discounting that the beliefs of others are just as true and right as well. I think that there can be a number of truths that can be true at the same time. Just like there's more than one way to figure out how to solve a math problem, there are more than one truths to get to that same understanding. So, the past lives, what comes in through our own experiences, we hold on to some of those um, belief systems and we bring them forth when we come into the new life. And I'm saying we, but what I'm meaning is those that have that belief system, um, bring that into there. And when I have worked with people who have such belief systems, that I can tell that they had, different thoughts from things that were not of their time period here and now. And when I would check, is it a past life? Yes. Were they this Roman soldier? Yes. Were they whatever it is, and they have this ache in their back and it was, from, I don't know, let's say from a spear that was thrown at them, and they still carry that wound. You erase that thought pattern that was there. You erase that, not the thought, but you erase the emotions that were attached to that thought, make it neutral. It doesn't bother that person. To that person, it's like a miracle. All of a sudden, that pain is gone forever. It hasn't returned because of the energy clearings that were done. You need to work with somebody who knows how to do those kinds of things. So, whether or not you've got the past life things, a lot of people believe also in the Akashic Records. Supposedly, I don't know if it's an actual place. I don't know. Um, I've had my Akashic Records done, and the idea is that it's like a volume of a book on your life, of all the things that have happened in your life, and which would include, in this case, past lives and what you've done and so on and so on. Whether you believe it or not doesn't really matter. But the idea is there is that belief system out there, and because it is out there, because it is in the general um, um matrix, the general force, substance, whatever you want to call it, that's out there, um, we are affected by that. It's a collective consciousness. It is out there, and you can choose to look into that, buy into that, not buy into it. It doesn't matter. We are still affected because of the thought and ideas that it is out there. And so, if the truth of the past lives is there, um, we're bringing that with us if we are of that belief. If we don't have that belief, fine, we get affected in different ways, and it's not the spear from, the times that we were Roman soldiers that affected us, but because we had a fall, or the forceps were used wrong when we were taken out of the womb. Whatever it is, they'll be finding something. People can find something to link that experience to that pain, to that problem that you have. And others will say, well, that's just a repeat pattern from the past. You have to make up your own mind. I am not the authority on this, and I look forward to discussing this with you if you choose. Um, so I invite you to share your knowledge, your experience, your expertise, your understandings with me. Do it through my through the links here, or message me. I'd love to learn more. I'm always interested in learning more. I know I've learned a lot over the past, 27 years or so that I've been working with this and on this, and even beyond that, when I was a kid, learning about the horoscopes and forming my belief systems around that. It's it's been a lifetime of accumulated knowledge. So, but that doesn't mean I know it all, and I would never claim that. Even if I knew a whole bunch of stuff on a subject, there's always somebody who knows something else more that I didn't know. And that's okay. Great. Bring it on. Let me hear about it. Let me know your perspectives. I look forward to being of service to you in that way. Perhaps I could be that sounding board for you. Perhaps I could be that, I don't know if it's called a rival, but uh, you banter back and forth what what you know, and even though you both hold to your convictions, there's a respect of the other because they are also holding to their own convictions, and good for you, good for me, whatever it is. So please do feel free to share your points of view. I'm not looking to be lambasted. I am looking to gain a greater perspective, a greater understanding of what others know and believe as their truths too. Um, I think that's for me a healthy way to understand people, to understand where they're coming from, to be more empathetic, to help me be more empathic towards things that I'm not aware of, not familiar with, and so might not recognize right away. But in learning from whatever it is that I get taught from various people or get told from other people, I can gain that greater perspective and understanding, and then be of greater service. At least that is my hope, my desire to have that. So, anyways, it's um, it's been a pleasure sharing this with you, and I look forward to our next session on Mondays from Challenge to Champion. And Happy New Year. May everything start to turn around for you for the better. And just be safe, be happy, be joyful if you can. Wishing you prosperity, love, health, lots of health, abundant health, and wealth. Why not? We could all use that a little bit more, yes? And whatever else your heart desires. Take care. God bless. Bye bye.